All right, let's find some coterminal angles between 0 and 360. Number 13. This is above 360, so I'm going to subtract 360. We're going to get 240 degrees. For number 14, it's already negative, so we need to add 360 to it. That'll be 340 degrees. Number 15, verify if these are coterminal. I like to start with the smaller angle and keep adding 360 and see if I get the other angle. So I'll add 360 to the negative 45. Let's see, that would be 315 degrees. Is that correct? Yeah, all right, so that they are coterminal. Number 16, 95 plus 360 would be 455 degrees, and that is not the same as 395, so these are not coterminal. Number 17, convert the degree measure to radians or radian to degrees. All right, so if you have degrees, you're going to multiply by pi over 180. This way the degrees will cancel and you'll be left with radians. All right, when I do that, let's simplify this. Let's see. Let's just do 10 right off the bat. If I divide that by 10, the zeros go away. I can also divide by 2, so that'll be 4 pi over 9. Multiply by pi over 180. This will be negative 125 pi over 180. Let's see, 5 goes into each of these. How many times? 5 would go in there 25 times. And 5 would go into 180 36 times. Okay. Number 19, this time we have radians. It's not just because there's a pi there that I know that. I know it because there is no unit measure or symbol at all. So if I don't see a degree symbol, I assume it's radians. So I want to get this 2 degrees. I want the 180 degrees to be in the numerator and the radians to be in the denominator. So the radians cancel, the pi's also cancel. 180 degrees divided by 6, that'll be 30 degrees. Repeat this over here. Pi's cancel. Let's see, 6 goes in there twice, 6 goes in there 30 times. I have 100, let's do 2 like this. And so I have 75 degrees. Now for 21, I don't see a pi, so you might think it's degrees, but there is no degree symbol. So this is radians, and you're going to multiply by 180 degrees over pi. There's no pi to cancel with, so that's okay. It's still in our problem. You're going to do the 4 times 180, and that would be 720 over pi, and I need the degree symbol in my answer. Number 22, give the reference angle for each angle and draw both on the coordinate plane. So for 100 degrees, we graphed that one earlier on a different problem. So there's the 100 degree angle. It's over in the second quadrant. So my reference angle is going to be the one going from that terminal side to the x-axis, and that measure, if this is 100 on the right, that means this is 80 degrees right here. So my reference angle is 80 degrees. For negative 290, that would start here, and that's going to go more than 270, so about here. That's my negative 290 degrees. If you take 290 away from 360, you would get 70 degrees. So that means my reference angle is right here, 70 degrees. All right, one more time, 200 degrees, that's more than 180. So that's going to be somewhere over here, 200 degrees. Now for this one, this is kind of different, but you go back to the x-axis right here, because you always draw your angle back to the x-axis. Now, how much further than 180 did we go? We went 20 degrees past 180, 200 minus 180. So my reference angle is 20 degrees. For each problem below, draw the angle and standard position, determine the reference angle, draw and label. All right, so 30 degrees would look like this. There's a 30-degree angle. Think of this being on the unit circle because our hypotenuse is 1. So just imagine, drop down towards the x-axis, your opposite side here, and your hypotenuse is 1. All right, so this is the adjacent side right here. This is the opposite side of this 30-degree angle, and 1 is the hypotenuse. If we're finding sine, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so SOHCAHTOA. So I want to know what this is over the hypotenuse. Again, if this is a 30, 60, 90, the hypotenuse is twice as much as the shortest leg. The opposite would be the shortest leg, and so it'll be half of that, 1. It'll be 1/2. This side would be root 3 over 2, 1/2 times root 3. We just need the 1/2 for our answer here, the sine of 30 degrees. 45 degrees. Drop in that side. Here's our 45-degree angle. We know that opposite and adjacent are going to be the same because it's a 45, 45, 90, and our hypotenuse is 1. For a tangent, you want to do opposite over adjacent. Now, without even finding what the opposite and the adjacent are, they're going to be the same. And when I make a fraction out of them, regardless of what they are, that's going to equal 1. So I know my answer, but let's just verify here. Remember, this side, the hypotenuse, you get from multiplying by root 2. So working backwards, I'm going to divide by root 2. I'm going to rationalize the denominator, and I get root 2 over 2, which is also going to be this side over here. And then when I take root 2 over 2, the opposite over the adjacent, that would equal 1. Number 27, 135 degrees is going to be in the second quadrant. Now, if you think about it, 180 minus 135 is 45 degrees. So that means my reference angle is 45 degrees. The opposite's over here, the adjacent is over here. Now, remember the adjacent is going to be negative because we went to the left. X is negative. The opposite value is going to be positive. Okay. So we want the cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Again, the hypotenuse is equal to 1. All right, so let's figure out what these values are. Just like we saw in problem number 26 right here, when it's a 45, 45, 90, we can use that to our advantage here. We know that this side is going to be negative root 2 over 2, and this side is going to be positive root 2 over 2. My answer for the cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse, anything over 1, we don't need to worry about that, will just be negative root 2 over 2. right, the sine of 60, sine of negative 60. Here's my initial side. Negative 60 degrees would be somewhere around here. What we're going to do is drop in that side there. That means this angle over here is 30 degrees. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. This side right here is the adjacent, and this one is the opposite. It's opposite the 60-degree angle. And remember, this is our reference angle is 60 degrees. We don't worry about the negative here. The hypotenuse is 1. So this side is the shorter leg, so it's equal to 1/2, half the hypotenuse. The opposite side is equal to that times root 3, or root 3 over 2. Now, because the opposite, though, is going down, right? It's just like your y value, it's going to be negative. That over 1 is just negative root 3 over 2.